ज्ञानं कर्म च कर्ता च त्रिधैव गुणभेदतः प्रोच्यते गुणसङ्ख्याने यथावत् शृणुतान्यपि.
Knowledge, action and actor are declared in the Sankhya science dealing with gunas, qualities, to be threefold based on the distinction in gunas. Listen to them also duly. Now, here comes this fantastic portion on the personality chart. He has already given 3 types of tyaga, which we saw yesterday: sattvic tyaga, rajasic tyaga, and tamasic tyaga. Now he goes into the other constituents of action: knowledge, action, actor, intellect, consistency, and happiness. And when you take a look at the whole thing, which we'll do tomorrow, which we'll complete tomorrow, you get an idea and you understand what is sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic with reference to these 7 indicators. You get a fairly good idea of your own personality. You'll be able to identify your weaknesses, you'll be able to identify your strengths, and you'll be able to work with yourself to bring about this improvement. So, before we actually get into that, we need to understand sattva, rajas, and tamas. We started yesterday, but today, sattva literally means purity. A sattvic frame of mind is that which is serene, calm, composed. This is a rare commodity in the world. Wherever you go in the world, you find disturbed people, restless people. So and now technology is helping us to be even more restless. You know, earlier, there were only landlines. So when you were traveling from one landline to another, you had no option but to relax. Now, while I was coming here this evening, I saw every car that I'm in, people are talking on their cell phone. Sometimes I wonder, what do they have to speak so much? Then I realized the saying, empty vessels make more sound. Serenity is a quality that is completely missing. Just tell your mind to sit still, be quiet, shanti. It doesn't. It taunts you with impertinence, with rebellion. The more you tell your mind to be quiet, the more it goes off on its own trajectory, uncontrolled. So, sattva is purity, calmness. Rajas is frenetic, desire-ridden activity. You have so many desires, and those desires are pushing you every moment to activity, and this activity emerges from a restlessness of the mind, from agitation of the mind, from stress. And stress is defined as mental agitations created by unfulfilled desires. And we are entertaining desires left, right, and center without any reference to how they are going to be fulfilled. How am I going to manage the desire? No thought of that. It's just rushing after desire, greed. And that's why we're in the mess that we are in. Tamas is a state of inertia, indolence, indifference. It's the lowest. So therefore, now what we need to understand is every single human being has all 3. It's the proportion that matters. It's the proportion that varies. Just as there are only 3 primary colors in the world, but these 3 primary colors combine and recombine, and the permutations and combinations of these 3 colors brings about this fantastic variety of colors in the world. Similarly, no 2 human beings in the world are alike. And this is because the combination of sattva, rajas, and tamas is different in different human beings. Sattva, because of its purity, is transparent. You can see the brilliance of Atman through a sattvic quality or a sattvic person. That's why you say, oh, so-and-so has an aura, a glow, what you call as tejas in the person. That is sattva. Rajas is translucent. You really can't see Atman through it because it's covered with selfishness and ego and all the negatives. Yet, the person is active. And so to some extent, a Rajasic person has a few good qualities and you can at least relate to a Rajasic person. Tamas is completely shrouded. It's opaque. You can't see through it. In the 3rd chapter of the Gita, he puts it beautifully. It combines philosophy and poetry and presents it so well. He says, Sattva is like smoke around fire. When there is smoke around fire, there are two things. You can see the fire through the smoke, and you don't need to put in very much effort to get rid of the smoke. A passing breeze is enough to take it away. The quality of sattva is so highly refined, so pure, that you can not only see Atman through it, effortlessly it goes away. So human effort can only get yourself up to the state of 100% sattva. That 100% sattva goes by itself. That's why it's been poetically and so beautifully portrayed as Krishna stealing butter. Otherwise, does it make sense to worship a guy who steals? When you speak to a devotee, she doesn't even talk about Krishna. He says, Makhan chor. What is this makhan chor? What is this concept of stealing butter? Butter represents pure sattvic thought. Once you bring your thoughts to that purity of sattva, Krishna comes and takes it away. It steals it away so that you come face to face with reality. What a beautiful way of saying it. And therefore it is that you don't need to be a great intellectual to understand this. You can be of any quality. Every single human being can relate to the stories of Krishna stealing butter and the mischief and all the finery woven around this basic, subtle thought of stealing butter, which means sattva goes by itself. Rajas, they say, is like dust on a mirror. When there is dust on the mirror, you can't see your image in the mirror clearly. And secondly, the dust doesn't go by itself. You need to take a cloth and wipe the mirror. So Rajasic qualities are grosser, so therefore you can't see the brilliance of Atman through a Rajasic person. And it requires effort to get over desire, to overcome ego, to get rid of all the trash that you've accumulated. Tamas, they say, is like an embryo in the uterus. Even with all the sonography and all the modern techniques, can you really tell, when you see a sonography report, can you say whether, oh, my child looks like me or looks like my husband? You can't say that. Only a doctor can decipher things. So you can't see at all. It's just blanked out completely. And you have to wait. You have to wait till the appointed time. However eager you may be to see your child, you can't say, hurry up. You have to wait the 9 months. Similarly, when you battle your grossest tamasic qualities, you're fighting them on a war footing, but the results don't show immediately. So you have to keep on at it. They take time and effort to overcome, but overcome you will if you put in consistent effort. Now what is interesting is, you can excel only when you operate out of your sattva. So therefore, if you're seriously interested in excellence in your particular field, you must do something about your sattvic content, about developing the sattvic content and getting over your rajasic and tamasic. So, in rajas, you will blunder through life. And in tamas, you just sleep through life. Literally sleep, otherwise sleepwalking. You're totally unaware, you're in ignorance, you don't know what fantastic resources you have at your command. I don't mean external resources, I don't mean wealth. Just the fact that you have a body, mind and intellect is so perfectly designed to take you, to convey you from the state of mortality to the state of immortality. And in our ignorance, we are doing anything but that. We're indulging in the senses, we are acting selfishly, we are getting attached to various aspects in the world. And the intellect is akrita buddhi, unrefined. And so therefore you're wasting this precious life. As we saw yesterday, the whole universe is so designed that you and I may live and find our way to that state of perfection. But if you are not aware of it, you just waste all these resources. So what he's saying here is, these three qualities, sattva, rajas, tamas, pervade knowledge, action, and actor. So he says, listen to them carefully. When he says listen to them, Arjuna can't say, you can't say, but I'm listening. What he means is, something important is coming. So concentrate, focus. Verse 20.